I'm Councilman Oliver Koppell, and I represent a district in the Bronx in New York City. I've been in the City Council now for 11 years, and prior to that I served for over 20 years in the New York State Legislature. And I'm delighted to address the members of the Multiple Sclerosis Society and talk a little bit about the importance of activism by ordinary citizens in support of initiatives that are significant to them, and want to urge all of you to get involved in lobbying and talking to government and government leaders about what your needs are and how government should respond to those needs. And I can give a concrete example. I'm currently engaged in a fight to assure that New York City yellow taxis are accessible to the disabled, particularly people who use wheelchairs. And that's not the rule for the new generation of yellow taxis that's coming online within the next couple of years. And that contrasts, for instance, with certain other big cities, particularly London, where all the taxi cabs in the future are going to be accessible. And in fact, they've been accessible to wheelchairs even in the past. There's no reason, in my view, why New York City shouldn't have accessible taxi cabs. It's very important to a large number of people. As far as I'm concerned, we are trying to protect everyone from adverse discrimination, and not having accessible taxi cabs, in my view, represents discrimination against those with disabilities. And this is an important fight, and it's a fight that can be won if elected leaders recognize that this is something, number one, that they should do, and number two, that they'll be called to account if they don't do it. And how do we arrive at that? We arrive at that by having activists, by having citizen activists on every level. And we've seen it again and again. I've seen it in my over 40 years of involvement in government. I've seen again and again that citizen activism can make a difference. And it's very important for you to contact legislators, for you to make known your wishes so that the press and public information outlets get known these needs. And again we see that when people are active and when they're involved, change is possible. We can have accessible taxis in New York City if there's enough pressure on elected leaders to provide them. And we've seen again and again that government does respond. For instance, right now we have a fight over health care. You know, there was a lot of resistance to having universal health care in this country, but because of citizen activism, I'm convinced it finally convinced Congress to pass a universal health care bill, and of course for the President to support that. That's just one example. We have example after example of where citizen activism makes a difference. So I want to urge you, whether it be on issues of health care, issues of transportation access, issues of government support for those who need support, it's important for your voice to be heard.